You're showing up, putting in that work, but nothing is changing. The scale hasn't moved in weeks, or the weight feels exactly the same, and you're thinking to yourself, yo, what's the point? I'm about to give this shit up. Right. But here's the truth: when dealing with plateaus, it's not a sign that you're failing. It's actually a sign that your body has caught up to you. And most people respond to plateaus by pushing harder, eating less, and just grinding more. But in actuality, you're making it worse. You actually want to do the opposite. So today I'm going to show you a smarter way, a deeper way, a way that works with your mind, body, and spirit and energy all at once. You're welcome. So you already know who it is. Welcome back to my channel. So we're going to talk about how to break through plateaus. One thing I'd say that plateau is not a sign of punishment. It's actually a good thing. Actually, it means that your body has adapted, and you have to just break through that by doing another stimulus. All right. So your body, to make your body feel uncomfortable. All right. So it's all about shocking your nervous system and being uncomfortable, being uncomfortable. So that's ways how to break through plateaus. All right. So, I got my notes in front of me. So let's begin. All right. So, Holy Quran says that Allah created you in the best of molds. And this is what I like about the human body, because it's made from the best stuff on earth. And not a Snapple, of course, not a Snapple, top fact. You know what I mean? Well, it could be. But nevertheless, right, when you apply a stimulus consistently to your body, whether it's the same weights, cardio, or calories, your body adapts. It becomes more efficient, and it stops changing. It's not really failure. It just means that your body's good at survival. And this is one of the mistakes people make, especially when I talk to clients too. When they want to lose weight, they want to be in a deficit. Sometimes they go too much in a deficit. For example, let's say you want to lose weight, you go down to 500 calories, just for an example. The first couple of days, your body will go into shock and you will lose the weight, let's say for a week. But the following week, you can end up having the adverse effect. You end up gaining weight, or you won't lose any more, because remember, the first law of nature is self-preservation. Your body's gonna be like, hold up, we have to learn how to survive off of 500 calories, and it will do that. And it will do that efficiently over a period of time. So you have to break through that. Some people will say, for example, I'm giving y'all a little game right real quick. Someone say you even have to increase your calories more. You go into a little surplus, and you begin to burn more. That's why some people are like, oh, I ate um a little bit more and I realized I was losing weight. I was like, yeah, because you stimulated your metabolism. That's why. And you're burning more. So your body is feeding off the nutrients that it needs. So that's what we're talking about. But the whole thing of me using that example was to show you the adaptation of how smart your body is. All right. So you don't want to use a plateau as a marker to quit. And that's where most people end up losing out, instead of using it as a sign like, okay, I got to do something else. All right. That's why some of your programs are anywhere from 8 to 16 weeks, because after that, your body has to adapt. You have to, after that, your body adapts, so you have to change. All right. So it's a signal or marker for your body saying, I've mastered this. I need something new. All right. So the question you have to ask yourself is, why did I stop? Is not why did I stop responding? The real question is, what I have refused to change. So plateaus give you a reason to change, right? To keep evolving and growing. All right. So we're gonna talk about what physically happens. Well, number one is adaptation. You've been doing the same program for too long, and your body begins to memorize the movement. So your nervous system is on autopilot, like I just mentioned before, right? So you need a new stimulus, new growth. It's simple like that. We're not gonna overcomplicate it. Number two, under recovery. Some people think you need to do more. I'm a big proponent of less is more in an efficient and timely manner, of course. You're actually doing too much without enough rest, and that is key. So muscles is built in recovery, not in the gym, as most of us know. And if you didn't now, you know. All right. So if you're not sleeping well, by being sleep deprived, you're definitely gonna tank your hormones, have it all out of whack, and it's gonna stall your fat loss, because one, without sleep, your cortisol level is going to rise or elevate, and that is a factor that can uh, limit you or slow down your fitness goals, right? So you have to learn how to manage your stress, your cortisol levels, right? And sleep is one of the antidote for that. Number three, caloric miscalculation. Yes, this is why having a coach is very important, because you have to know the right amount of calories and macros that plays a part, right? Whether you're gaining or losing weight, your body needs the energy to change. You have to do it in a strategic manner, all right? So um, it's about recalibrating your metabolism, and your nutrition has to have a plan in order to do so. Okay. Number four, progressive overload has stopped. Yes, you probably, like I always say, it's not aggressive overload, it's progressive. So that's what you need to do. You want to do something slightly a little harder, heavier, and more complex over time. If it doesn't challenge you, you won't grow. As simple as that. So any one of these four can stall your progress. All right. And some people are dealing with all four at once. You know, then you need to see me. All right. Now we have the mental and energetic blocks that people miss, and I think this is the mental and spiritual aspect I always talk about that most people always overlook. You know what I'm saying? So we know that the physical is real, obviously, because we live on Earth, but there's something underneath that nobody really talks about. It's really mental. The plateau becomes mental before it's physical, right? All is mind, right? So when you hit a certain level of your progress, something physiologically happens. It's about to proving yourself a little bit, and then your hunger phase, because you keep doing the same thing, it gets boring. Quote unquote. I did a video talking about the boring results. The boring routine gives you elite results. So sometimes it becomes mundane, and we get frustrated, and we start not doing or being consistent as we should, because we're thinking it's the same thing and we're not progressing, right? But that's the subtlety that comes in our performance, because it will leak out in how we're moving the weight and how we're training. So we're not in the moment. We're just going with the flow. Yeah, I'm just going to do 12, and we may not even try to challenge ourselves with that. All right. So energetically, that's important as well. All right. And don't forget about the factors of stress of life too, how we manage that too. Sometimes we may be carrying stuff into the gym, right? That's going to really influence our performance in the gym and how we work out. So all that plays a part. Like I talked about, cortisol spikes, your recovery slows, inflammation rises. So now your nervous system is more in a survival mode. And you know what happens when we're in survival mode? Nothing ever good comes from that. All right. So you have to really prioritize the transformation. All right, so this is where this part here that always says often overlook. This is where your spiritual and scientific meet. So your inner environment always shows up in your outer results. All right, so always try to center yourself when this shift occurs, and you notice your energy is off, and you're not in tune how you normally are when it comes to your workout. All right, so before you change your program, you have to ask yourself, are you really showing up the same way as you were in the beginning? All right, if you and are you just going through the motions? All right, here now I'm gonna give you 5 strategies to break through right now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, today, right now. One, change your stimulus, switch up your training split, your rep ranges, your exercise order. That's a good one that nobody talks about too. Sometimes I will start off with the heavy compound lifts, or do a compound movement first, not heavy lift, but compound movement first. Then I'll go into my accessories or the machines, right? Because I know sometimes people talk about the pre-exhaust, and where they may do, let's say if I'm doing leg extensions, I'm doing leg workout, I may start with leg extensions or hamstring curls, right? And then throwing some abductors. Or just to switch it up, I may start off with some squats, right? Then I may do leg press and just do it backwards, just to get a different stimulus for my body. All right. So that could definitely shock your body, right? Or even just doing a little bit more. You may do 4 sets. You may want to push it to 6, just to throw off your body a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Two, you audit your recovery. Uh, I'm telling you, do not underestimate the power of good sleep, and you want it consistently. You want to do it. You want to have about 7 to 8. Some people say 7 to 9, but have a good 8 with your diet and everything like that. you should be fine, right? So, and your sleep will definitely help you with your recovery. That's something that I ask my clients all the time. Before we meet, did you eat? Okay. How did you sleep? And then I'm going to gauge them on the exercises that we're doing. And I can tell usually if they push well or if they're not as strong because I know they didn't do the outside stuff outside of the gym. All right. Three, you want to recalculate your nutrition. Rest and recovery. Nutrition is fuel for you. It is fuel. You're not going to function properly if you do not have the proper nutrition. Can't say that enough. Can't stress it enough, right? So you got to reset. That's why tracking your food, at least for the first week, I tell clients that all the time, at least track your food, MyFitnessPal or whatever app, write a journal so you know what you're doing and what your habits are. And we try to calculate that and see what's off. And this, you don't have to be quote unquote the extreme with a bodybuilder, just eating chicken and rice, but there's a reason for that. It's because if anything is off, the metrics, they know where they went wrong, where they deviated, and they can recalibrate it to get back on track. All right, so you should do the same. You don't got to be that extreme, but you want to get into the habits of tracking your foods. All right, so you want to adjust accordingly. All right. Four, reintroduce progressive overload. 5 pounds to a lift, like I said, it's not aggressive, it's progressive. So you don't got to go from 40 to 70. Although sometimes I do that, but that's another story. But for you guys, starting out 5 pounds with your workout, do one more rep. Um, you can reduce your another stimulus you can do as progressive overload is just not your the weight, is also your rest time. You can decrease your rest time or you add more reps. So those are the three forms of progressive overload. All right. And add an extra set too if you have time. Five, I think, is often overlooked. We don't talk about much, is a deload week. So after you do your heavy training, let's say for 4 weeks you go crazy heavy, right? You take the next week, either you can take off or you drop back. Or let's say for science-based lifters, right? You're training from rep ranges to like 6 to 8 or even 10. For let's say 4 weeks hard, right? Let me use that as an example. The fifth week, you drop the weight and you go up to a higher rep range to 12 to 15, right? If you really about that life, you probably go 15 to 20 to build more endurance. All right. So you can do things like that to throw off your system as well by reducing, and it gives a chance your nervous system to rest as well, kind of, but it's also showing the adaptability. So you have the strength and endurance mixed into one. All right. All right. So that's how most athletes and professionals do it too. All right. So pick two of these and implement it this week. All right. So last but not least, well, almost last but not least. All right. So the takeaway from all of this is that plateaus are never the enemy. Complacency was. All right. So when things stop working, most people look for something to blame. The program, the diet, the genetics, but really the breakthrough, you have to look inward. Everything begins and ends with you. So you just got to be honest with yourself. Instead of getting frustrated, take the time out to analyze and see what's going on. All right. And I said, be honest with yourself as well. Because at the end of the day, you're only fooling yourself, right? So look at it as a sign, like from the universe or whatever. Like it's asking you, how committed are you? Are you here for the transformation or just the results? But because transformation isn't about the body, it's really about becoming someone who doesn't stop, right? Who adapts and who's going to figure it out. And that's all plateaus are. So they're definitely needed. And that shows you where you are. And to me, it's a sign that you're going in the right direction. And you just have to, and that's when your breakthrough actually comes. All right. So the body always follows the mind and the mind always follows the decision. So once you make it up in your mind, follow through all the way like a jump shot. All right. So make the decision today that you're not going to be someone who gets beaten down by plateaus or run away from when things doesn't stop working. You're going to figure it out. All right. Cool. So here's a challenge for you guys this week. All right. Which one of the 5 strategies have you tried? And go do it. You don't got to be perfect, but just start. You just want to be consistent. If this resonate with you, drop a comment below and let me know which one of the things that you are struggling with. And if you have tried it, let me know, how did you feel after you had your breakthrough? All right. And this is Alchemy Fitness signing off, where we transfer you from lead to gold. Train hard, train smart, and train safe. Peace.